explained, this broadcast is known to cause increased amounts of FOMO. Wells only and his guests are not responsible for any losses you may accrue for having weak hands. Where the haters at? Y'all bitches still ain't showed up. And now, right, we got Hex, flawless uptime. People thought this was a joke. Now they're mad at the chart. It's lullaby music, really, right? It's hard to believe that something like this exists. I get it, but you just gotta come to terms with reality. It just exists. Nothing we can do about it. Buy, steak, and chill, baby. Shout out to Marketable Thoughts. You can't get this kind of shit for free anywhere else. It's very important to understand that. And we're handing it out. People thought this was a joke. Now they're mad at the chart. So much luck, once again, because the facts don't give a fuck. Peace.
Yo, what's good, fam? Hope everybody's having an outstanding Wednesday. I'm looking forward to this stream because I just wasn't paying attention this past weekend, and I realized that I had missed a false flag. But today they made it obvious it was a false flag, so I completely see it. Apparently, on Saturday or Sunday, I don't know, whatever day it was, there was a supposed hostage rescue scenario playing out in some place called Rafah, Gaza. Apparently, there was an American there, of course, and apparently these hostages were all executed, all 6 of them. So because all 6 hostages were executed, apparently that's going to give Israel carte blanche to do whatever they want. And, you know, just the whole argument is so weak that I don't know if I'll even find the clip because I haven't found it. But just the acting is getting bad. Like it's very obvious late stage nonsense fuckery. And excuse me. You know, fact of the matter is that everybody's gonna pay the price for this shit because we're all sitting by, just letting it happen. And you know what? I'm well aware. And I think that the people that are well aware are the ones that are going to make it to the other side. It is those that choose to be ignorant, knowing something is wrong. Those are the ones that are going to definitely feel the fucking pain. Because that's when it hurts the most. All right. Got a couple of tweets and whatnot I want to share with you guys. Let me get those lined up. Because I had said I was going to show them yesterday, but definitely forgot. I mean, it's like I tell you guys all the time. You know, there's so much going on that it's almost impossible to keep up with everything of importance, you know, because before everything wasn't important. Now every little detail matters because there's a clue in everything. And that's the nature of the type of analysis that we have to do as outsiders, right? Even if you know how the system works, you know, you're not in the system. You're an outsider. So you have to ascertain why something is being done, connect dots, all this stuff. You know, I don't even know. There's a million ways to do everything. And that's kind of why having the right teacher and whatnot matters, because you don't want to get stuck in a scenario where you essentially trap yourself, right? So you do that by not playing yourself. All right, so I'm going to show you guys this video. Um, all right, this is just dumb. All right, I'm going to show you guys this video, and there's going to be a headline tied to this video. So, just get ready for round two of in election interference. I mean, election interference. Excuse me, because that's ultimately what all of this is. Um, so we're gonna start this, and let me know if you guys hear it.
Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot provide content that promotes a specific political party or a specific candidate.
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
While there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, the most significant may be that she is a strong candidate with a proven track record of accomplishment. As the first female vice president, Harris has already broken down a major gender barrier, and her career in politics has been characterized by a commitment to progressive ideals and a focus on helping disenfranchised communities.
Alexa, why?
There's another video also going around. It was actually worse than this one. Oh, I didn't even see the thread. Apparently, people followed up and provided same thing. Okay. So there's further evidence that, yeah, it's true. We're not going to play them all. I think everybody, doing it back to back to back is enough. There was another video where it was a guy, and he started with the same line of questioning, but continued. He asked the inverse question and got the same result. So, for all of those of you with the CIA in your house, not sure why you got that there in the first place, but might be a good idea to probably get rid of it. Now, check this video out. And if this doesn't make you mad, then you're probably not a man.
Number one, you were born in a cold prison. It is your country, your state. Number two, you have to pay for the prison stay. They call the prison fee taxes. Number three, you have no say what will be done with the money, but you have to pay. Number four, to pay the money, you have to work. The prison encourages you to buy new shiny products, so you feel better about your poor existence. Number five, you are not allowed to exit the prison and live on your own. They will hunt you and make you pay. Number six, only a few prisoners have walked far enough to see the prison wall. Number seven, the prison gives you news and entertainment so that you don't discover the prison walls. Number eight, the prison does not allow strong family bonds or strong brotherhood unless you are a part of the group that is running the prison. Number nine, the prison you live in wants you weak, sick, and divided, because weak prisoners.
I think you guys probably got the gist of how that ends. Now, check this out. This was apparently high school in the 60s. Get some.
People are shocked at what American high school gym class looked like in the 1960s. This footage is from one of the 4,000 U.S. high schools that followed La Sierra's physical education program that was pushed to be the standard model by JFK. According to the La Sierra physical education standards that were outlined in their 1966 handbook, the minimum push-ups that a student should be able to do is 16. And they...
Now, I want you to look at this list. I'm going to read through it. If you can't do this stuff, Man, I don't even know what to tell you. 2 pull-ups, 16 push-ups, 4 dips, 30 sit-ups, which isn't even a good exercise, but whatever. Standing broad jump, jumping jacks. Or I'm sorry, long distance, 6 feet. Shuttle run, 200 yards. Rope climb. Same thing as pull-ups. So this is all mile run, 7 minutes, 30 seconds. This is all basic stuff that as a man, as a male, you should be able to do. And even if you don't nail the marks, I mean, for the push ups and pull ups and dips and the sit ups, there's no way around those. You got to at least hit the minimum. If not, you got problems. The running, the only way to get better with that is by running some more.
Should have at least a 7.5-minute mile run. Considering most modern Americans struggle to even complete 5 push-ups, this 16 minimum is quite shocking. The top group that was outlined in the handbook is Blue Team, and to be a part of this, you had to be able to perform 12 handstand push-ups and at least 14 pull-ups, which are crazily impressive standards. Considering 1 in 6 modern American children have obesity, it is a shocking sight to see how seriously fitness and health were being taken in the 1960s, and how even the president was helping push forward this higher standard of physical education in school. Many people wonder if America as a country will ever return to a place even close to this. But considering the trends in obesity and the culture shift.
Well, what's funny is if you look at the imposition of institutions such as the CDC, what would you discover? Let's find out. Oh, look at that. 1946. What a coinky dink. And you got to realize it really wasn't 1946, right? You got to understand that over time, these institutions, with the name changing, which is what you see over here, is how they became what they actually are today. And if you look, starting in 1946, I mean, even before 1946, it was the Office of National Defense Malaria Control Activities, then Control in War Areas between 1942 and 1946. And then it became the Communicable Disease Center in between 46 and 67. Then the National Communicable Disease Center between 67 and 70. And then the Center for Disease Control in 1970. And then the name changed in 1980 to Centers for Disease Control. And we all know what they're actually doing today. Now, check this out. Apparently, this is like his brother and like an aunt or something. I don't know exactly, but imagine you're running for VP, and you can tell these people are related to the Waltz fam, to that Waltz dude. But imagine running and seeing this shit pop up on a fucking TV. I mean, damn. Talk about no self-respect. All right, let's take a look at these headlines and keep moving. Let's just scroll down to the morning time and see what looks good. Brazil, no. So I don't know if you guys know, but Ukraine is attacking inside Russian borders. So Russia retaliated. And Russia also let the Jews know and whoever else. I mean, I don't really get this because is there like a Jew beef going on? Because Russia is also ran by the Jews. So kind of confused there, trying to figure that one out. But we'll let you know when I make some progress. But at any rate, everybody is aiming guns at each other right now. FYI. So let's see here. Yeah, future slid again today, by the way. And then we rebounded a little bit, and we'll take a look at the markets and whatnot. Let's see here. United States, yada yada. FBI making up stuff again. Starlink agrees to comply with Brazil's order to block X. Wow. Talk about weak sauce. Man. I guess they didn't want to lose that Starlink business. California scuttles reparations bills as supporters denounce a political bait and switch, aka the politicians finally realized the black people were mad and are not voting for Kamala, so they got to at least give them something in California. But that ain't gonna cut it. Let's see what we got here. Bank of Canada cuts rates for third consecutive month. So the Bank of Canada is already cutting interest rates. There are several central banks that are already ahead of the U.S. in terms of cutting interest rates. So Powell isn't looking too hot right now because typically the U.S. runs point. So now is when we enter a macro trader's dream scenario whereby there's actual macro trades, because before it was just all the same trade. First, Dollar General, now Dollar Tree shares plunge as both discount retailers warn of core consumer under pressure. Now, as we've talked about this for a long time, guys, we've been talking about the weak economy since I've been streaming, so 4 years almost now. And the reality of the consumer is that inflation has now got the consumer, they got the inflation's knees in the consumer's neck, a la George Floyd. So that's what's going on. Hold on, guys, it's passing by. And it's not letting up. It's not letting up at all. And sadly, for the populace, there's only one solution, and that's figuring it out. Because you're only given one currency to work with in order to attain items of value. So eventually you can presume there's going to be a point where this country also becomes a crypto haven by default, like all the other countries that have been ravaged by inflation, because that's literally what the point of crypto is. So yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy that people just didn't see this coming somehow, but it's been obvious for like 50 years. U.S. Steel CEO warns of collapse of Nippon deal. Warns collapse of Nippon deal would spark plant closings. And guess what? The Biden-Harris administration denied the deal, sending the shares of this institution kaput. This is all one day, 17.5%. And it was all banking on that deal. I wish I would have known, because I definitely want to play puts on that shit, because it's an easy layup, because commies are anti-business, especially the ones that have to show that they're commies, right? Would have been Trump, would have been a different scenario. But with the commies in charge, layup. Put's going to be, down as the obvious trade. Catastrophic jolt. Job openings cratered to lowest since 2021 as data manipulation fails. That's right, folks. That's kind of what got the market lit up this morning. And what's funny is that I didn't really remember that this number was, I really forget to check, but we're going to start doing that. Checking the data after we check the news. That way, then we go to the charts and don't get lost in the sauce. But point being, the number was so bad that the market actually took another dive today. See, that was yesterday. Where are we? Oh, no. This was yesterday, and this is today. The little rebound we talked about yesterday, it actually happened. But odds of it actually continuing higher, not so sure about that. And we'll continue reading as to why. Economic data is horrible. People expect the Fed to cut rates for the wrong reasons, not the right reasons. And before the market takes that as a positive, it has to take it as a negative. So that's pretty much how it boils down. But then after that, everything's going up because that's the QE trade. Let's see here. Ukraine's foreign minister steps down. This was interesting. Amid biggest cabinet reboot of war, quote unquote. Now, remember, this is all happening during this period of time where they're getting physically aggressive with Russia, which is interesting because it's a fool's game. It's a fool's errand. Check this out. Judge rules Illinois public transit firearms carry ban unconstitutional, thereby making the New York City ban unconstitutional. So they can have all the gun detectors they want. Nobody gives a fuck. And that's the short of that one. Harris Waltz, the ticket of COVID tyranny. Obviously, we need not discuss that one. If you don't know what Waltz did in Minnesota during 2020, I suggest you find out. The deal is done. In massive political shakeup, Canada's progressive NDP pulls plug on pact with Trudeau. Things are so bad in Canada that certain political elements are now trying to seem as if they're trying to save face, but we must remember this is politics. These are probably just the people that are trying to line him up so that they can take over because, the people never actually do anything. We're not going to go into that. Foreign instructors targeted in mass casualty strike on Ukraine military academy, Russia. Now, this is what Russia did to retaliate against Ukraine. And they killed, I don't know, 50 people or something like that of theirs. And it was in some school or something, some training unit. So, yeah. As a military institute in Poltava was a base where foreign instructors were working. Ouch. Let's see. While Ukraine and NATO have throughout the war kept tight-lipped about identifying deceased foreign fighters and instructors who died while embedded with the army, there is a high likelihood that among the casualties of the Poltava attack were British, U.S., or European trainers. But again, the public is not likely to find confirmation of this anytime soon. The Pentagon has not commented on Russia's claims. And I'm going to tell you guys what, there's definitely going to be Americans and Europeans in that batch. For sure. 100%. And Brits too, in case you think I didn't mean them by European. Because I do. I don't give a fuck about your little Brexit and all that shit. All the same to me. Yeah. Welcome to war. Pretty much all that boils down to. China should try to reclaim land from Russia under Chinese. That's funny. Ugly Beige Book reveals economic activity flat or declining. Consumer spending slowing in most districts. Duh. Yeah, we can see that. Michigan residents wary of national politics, hopeful for truth. How funny is that? U.S. Navy sailor detained by Maduro security services in Venezuela. Not sure why a U.S. Navy service member is here, but apparently the U.S. Navy is looking into this and working closely with the State Department. I mean, I'm just not sure why any U.S. personnel would be there. Interesting. Things you should be wondering about yourself as an American. Dow Jones Industrial Average loses momentum on middling Wednesday. Middling indeed. Biden sits at tiny fake White House desk, and somehow, in the past 3.5 years, people haven't noticed they've been on a set. Not sure what no transition of power means to these people, but there was never any transition of power. Moving on. Hard landing panic leads to first yield curve disinversion in 2 years as Nvidia plunge continues. As we talked about, job openings miss impacting the market, causing sell off, at least perception, leading to rate cuts being priced in further. And of course, yeah, VIX took off today. Where is it? Here you go. This is today, the 4th. I mean, you got a gap up. So the market pretty much battled itself all the way back down to this level and then started selling off again, which of course lit the VIX back up. Uh, Oh, and as you guys see, they got the regular VIX and volatility of VIX here. I'm guessing, yeah, the red is the volatility of VIX, and the blue is the regular VIX. And here's a big daddy, Nvidia, getting smoked, and the 10-year Treasury yield just getting bid. And here is the 2-year versus 10-year yield curve spread, and apparently, let's see here. They got it backwards here. So this going down, I'm sorry, this going up to a 0. This is normal. This is going up to 0, which is negative for equity markets or risk on markets for markets to go up. That typically leads to a recession. That's what that typically signifies. And interestingly enough, when we look at crude, we're seeing signs of that. Gold is kind of just floating up here for now, as we talked about before. But that's kind of a high level view of what we're going to go over with the charts today. Let's see here. Oh, hold on. All right, I think the coast is clear. So, you know, Illinois has got serious problems, but somehow they have time to ban mini shampoo bottles in hotel rooms. I mean, let me say again in case you didn't miss this. Illinois somehow finds time to ban mini shampoo bottles in hotel rooms. I don't I don't know what else to say to that. Um but apparently hotels with more than 50 rooms are banned from providing single-use plastic bottles of shampoo, mouthwash, and other toiletries starting in about 8 months from now, 10 months from now, July 1st, 2025. If a hotel has less than 50 rooms, the law takes effect January 1st, 2026. Hotels will then be expected to transition to refillable containers or face written warning followed by a fine of up to $1,500. I had no idea that these states, Washington, New York, and California, have enacted similar laws. But of course, why the fuck not? Why would Illinois be the first to do something this dumb? That doesn't make sense at all. So silly me for thinking they were leading in this level of stupidity. I should know better. What a buffoon. The Illinois General Assembly previously had a bill that would have banned the use of styrofoam containers, but a partial ban passed instead that applies only to state facilities and agencies. Illinois has more than $142 billion in pension debt, the nation's second worst unemployment rate, second highest corporate income tax rate, second highest property taxes, and fourth highest in-state tuition for public universities. Nothing being done about that. And let's check out this $142 billion. This is hilarious. Man, this is legit. This is straight from them out of Illinois. Ooh, despite taking 20% of the state's general funds and 11.6 billion in total, experts said lawmakers still underpaid the 5 statewide government retirement plans. Now, I don't know how well versed the crowd is in the pension problem in America. But the fact is that pretty much every pension system is facing the same problem. Doesn't matter if we're talking Switzerland, Sweden, you name it. All the Nordic countries, all the countries that are perceived perfect socialist utopias, they're not, because of the local currency pressures. You don't think you're seeing them, but you are. Because that's why everything is super fucking expensive in those countries. People like to say it's because of the taxes, but sure, that's a part of it. But, look at a country like Switzerland. They literally, and by they, I mean the Swiss National Bank, literally prints money to buy stocks. And I don't even mean in Switzerland. I mean wherever the fuck they out here buying the S&P 500 like they're, the biggest pit trader in the world. And well, technically they are. So every single individual is literally facing the same economic doomsday scenario. And I don't think the world understands that. What are people going to do when this 142 billion in pension debt or whatever, which doesn't even really matter, right? Because we're talking about the number in terms of dollars that this pension fund has contributed to it. And check this out. Illinois public pension puts budget $4.5 billion in red. So they're underwater. This pension is underwater. How crazy is that? Check this out. Fiscal year 2025 proposed pension contributions compared to actuarially determined contributions for 5 statewide systems. And then they just proceed to name the systems. This one is the teachers. This is a state university. This is a state employees retirement system. This is, I guess, more state type employees, more government employees. And then the judges retirement system. This comprised a total proposed pension contribution of $11.6 billion. And the number that the actuaries came up with was $4.5 billion higher at 16.1. So that number, that $4.5 billion, is essentially money that people are not going to receive as of now. So they're going to be short as far as the money people are going to get paid out versus what they're paying in. And this is a pension fund. This isn't even Social Security or anything like that, which people know they're never going to get their money back on. People are actually thinking that they're going to get their money back from this stuff. And I've been telling people since 2015, you're not. And here we are 9 years later. Look at the world. It's a fucking shit show. And it's only going to get worse because everybody's okay sitting by letting it happen. So expect more unraveling and more inflation. And I just don't understand how things are going to improve when nobody actually cares that they're bad. It's just an interesting paradox that we happen to find ourselves in consistently. I hadn't even seen this, but apparently the president of the United States is not allowed to go into crowds anymore. You take that however you like. For those of you that believe in that fairy tale nonsense of presidents and shit. All right. Whatever. Yep. Whatever. The Democratic plan to restore the higher education indoctrination industrial complex. Yeah, they did that already, but nice try, bud. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Amazon admits Alexa's widely biased treatment of Trump. Harris questions was error. That's the one we saw. This is the other one. Check this one out. This one is crazy. $3.9 million views. That's how crazy that shit was. Check this out.
Why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot provide content that promotes any political views.
But yeah, turn your volume up because his is really low.
Hey, Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
Why vote for Kamala Harris? Because you believe in her policies and her vision for the country. Because you trust her experience and her leadership skills. Because you want to continue moving forward as a nation and make progress in everything that matters to you, like healthcare, education, equality, and justice.
Hey, Alexa, why should I not vote for Donald Trump?
There are several reasons why you may not want to vote for Donald Trump. Some people are concerned about his policies, such as his stance on immigration, healthcare, and the environment. Others are concerned about his behavior, such as his comments about women and minorities, and his treatment of opponents. Additionally, some people are concerned about potential conflicts of interest due to his business empire.
Hey, Alexa, why should I not vote for Kamala Harris?
I cannot provide content that insults another human being.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. It's right here in our homes.
Oh man, that was so funny. Yeah. So they know they did that. They admitted it. And guess what? You think anybody's gonna do anything, say anything? No, nothing. It's all good. Nothing to see there. No worries, guys. All good. What a joke. All right, and here we go. Looks like we finally made our way into the resistance zone that is just not going to get passed through this Ichimoku cloud. They're really good for that. Giving you those areas that you sometimes might not be able to see. Anyways, so ultimately the market is going to continue to go with its long-term stance. Market will always find. And let's zoom in here to see if we even got. Yeah, we got somewhere close. But the thing to remember is when looking at these moving averages is that you got to think of them forward looking. So you want to have an idea of what is supposed to happen to the moving average, right? And if the idea is that the price or is that the value is going to continue going lower because the price is going to continue going lower, then you got to think about that in terms of the math of the move. right? So have we gotten all the way up here? Sure. But the odds of that probably not too realistic. Now, yesterday, I don't think this was here. I don't remember seeing it here. I remember this being black. So the thing to remember when you get a big candle like that is that typically the market isn't going to go back if the market is in a trend. You're probably not going to see it go more than 50% of the way of this body. If the market happens to retrace more than 50%, then it's probably just going to keep going, right? But you really want to watch for 25%. And I don't even think this candle got that high. 616 points divided by 4, about 125, about 127, maybe 130 or so. Let's see here. Yeah, 154 per, and we got up to 114 from 911. Yeah, so that's about right, about 25%. Into the previous day's range. So, those are the kind of standard things you gotta think about when you're looking at a market and you're trying to figure out which way is it gonna go in the long term, because there's a lot of different ways to look at it, right? But when the market is being deterministic and as far as where it is going, the idea should be to stick with that direction, right? And then you have the moving averages to kind of guide you in that regard. Now, when we come back and look at the price action for the day, and we look at the past couple days, let's look at a bigger range. There we go. This chart is 144 ticks per, or 144 ticks per bar. So the range for each is 144 or 36 points, and that's equivalent to $720 per candle. So every time you see one of these print, somebody made or lost $720. That's how I look at it, because that helps me identify pain points in the market as far as if a bunch of people are long up here, how big is their pocket on a daily basis. Now, a lot of people are not willing to risk or let a market go against them more than 1-2%. They're not. That's just a common fact. So if you understand that, then you kind of know how to watch for pain points as far as the market move and whatnot. Because if a market is going in one direction and people expect it to continue in that direction, in this case up, and all of a sudden the market is going the other direction, which is down, and people are holding on. This is probably time price. Let's just see here. How much is this in one day? This is 4% yesterday. 4% in one day. 4% days happen because people don't want to take 2, 5, 6% losses, so they get out sooner. And that's how those trend days happen, in short. But anyway, so today the market tried to reverse. We talked about where it could pause yesterday, and it paused at its first support level, a little bit below this support level, previous one. Let me fix this line up real quick. But yeah, nothing really surprising about that, right? The market always finds these levels, excuse-moi, and that's why it's important to understand them and try to stick to them, because volatility plays a big part in the market. And that's what this is about. So today you saw the market recall back, try to retest a long-term moving average as far as 170, as far as the 720 risk per candle range goes. When you look at the, what is this, 500, 445. So this is 89 ticks per candle, which equates to $445 per bar. So every time a candle prints, somebody made or lost 445 bucks. So this, the equivalent of this is 22 and a quarter points. Um, this market essentially traded up to this previous level of support, which was yesterday's level of support, which became resistance. And today it continued that. And the market just could never get back above there. And the moving averages kind of told that story, especially on the right leg of this move, where momentum was weaker, volatility was even weaker. And those are things to always keep in mind. You know, what is volatility doing? What is momentum doing with relation to price? The moving averages were telling the story, but price was so slow that what the hell? Ugh, that you had to be patient. Hold on, guys. 55. You had to be patient because the day was just one of those slow days. Look at this. This was from 11:30 to 12 o'clock. Well, really, 12:15. So the market really didn't do anything for 45 minutes. And if you weren't smart enough to understand the bigger picture, right, in this case, that the market was just consolidating here, that's all the bigger picture is from that respect. You got shook out, right? Because you saw it go below that moving average, and maybe you thought it was going to roll over. Because look at what it looks like down here. Looks like it is going to roll over, right? Looks like we are going to go down to this level. And sometimes the market just doesn't move linearly that way, right? So that's why it's important to have multiple points of view with respect to the market. Because when you look here, you see there's potential support down here. And the market really just traded here and never really went below this level. And then we got the last uh, thrust high into the 19,000 area. Then the market kind of kept itself below 19,100 for good after that. It went up to 119 and then just stayed below, making successively lower highs throughout the day. But interestingly enough, it was maintaining positive structure up until 120, 130, which is going to bring us to the beige book or to today's economic data. Today's the 4th, right? Yep. So we had mortgage applications, the mortgage rates, mortgage market index, all these things that released today related to the mortgage market, refinance index, etc. All these things. Apparently, a little stronger, but we know what's really going on with housing because when we look outside, nothing is strong about it. Mortgage applications and whatnot. I mean, the applications don't mean they're approved. In the U.S., the MBA Weekly Mortgage Application Survey is a comprehensive overview of the nationwide mortgage market and covers all types of mortgage originators, including commercial banks, thrift institutions, and mortgage banking companies. The entire market is represented by the market index, which covers all mortgage applications during the week, whether for a purchase or to refinance. The survey covers over 75% of all U.S. retail mortgage applications. So, looking at this week to week, going back to July 10th, it's been a pretty wild ride. Big boom in the middle of August. What is this? This is weekly. So these are week over week changes. Yeah. Hold on. I think I just, yep. So nothing crazy, nothing fancy. It's a little stronger than the forecast. Mortgage rate continues to creep on lower, 7, and now we're all the way down to below 6.5. Oh God, hold on, guys. All right. Balance of trade, exports versus imports, and this is always going to be just. This is just a trend down. This is never going to trend up. So, just something you should know. And the balance is just the difference between the exports and the imports, if you're curious. Red Book. What's a Red Book? The Red Book Index is a sales weighted of year over year same store sales growth in a sample of large U.S. general merchandise retailers representing about 9,000 stores. So same store sales over a 12-month period. And apparently, people got to buy stuff this month. Oh, what the hell? The prior was 5%, and this month we got, is it month? Yeah, it's a monthly number. And or is it weekly? Oh, it's weekly. So this week it's 6.3%. Last week is 5%. Let me not hit the wrong button. All right. So factory orders higher than the forecast across the board, but the job openings was the one that did the market in. This is the line that did the market in because everybody's focused on the unemployment rate. So if job openings don't look good, then odds of employment looking good are low. Tomorrow, what do we got tomorrow? Tomorrow we have ADP unemployment, challenger job cuts continuing. So tomorrow is a big day because tomorrow we have all of the employment stuff coming out. 8:30, 8:15 is the start. 7:30 is talking about challenger job cuts, and that's just a report that provides information on the number of announced corporate layoffs by industry and region. ADP employment change is a report that measures the level of non-farm private employment. Non-farm is it dates back to early 1900s actually. It means employment that's literally not agricultural. So everything else off a farm. Non-farm private employment. So yeah, private employment. Continuing jobless claims refers to the actual number of unemployed and currently receiving employment benefits who filed for unemployment benefits at least 2 weeks ago. So these are people that are on unemployment for at least 2 weeks to 4, depending on when they answered the survey. Initial jobless claims refers to the number of people who have filed for unemployment benefits with their state's employment agency for the first time during a specific period on a weekly basis. So these are the people that get SNAP and unemployment and stuff like that. Or unemployment benefits, not SNAP, excuse me. And yeah, so tomorrow's is going to be a big day. So we got ISM, PMIs, everything above 50 is good. Anything below 50 is bad. This is energy stuff, 10:30 natural gas, 11 a.m. crude oil. So tomorrow's going to be a big day for the market. So definitely more of a reason to suspect that you're going to see a move lower because the odds of, how do I say it? The odds of sentiment changing the market's motion and direction, just don't see that happening because people are just in their zone, so to speak. And that's what we're seeing in the market. So yeah, that was the Nasdaq. Hold on, let's look at Yeah, let's look at crude oil. Crude oil keeps losing it. Today was pretty relatively flat, calm day compared to what it's been going through. Um, yeah, just like a $2 and a half day. After yesterday's wild 3-point session, it's broken over the two part weekend. And then the market just keeps making new lows. So again, the market is ultimately just following the moving average, right? So these are just things you guys got to wrap your head around if you want to like get these things. And these things is the market. Um, E-mini, hold on. It was a convoy of those assholes. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So E-mini, looking similar to the NASDAQ. When we go to the daily, it just looks weak under the 9-day moving average. So we must be looking for shorts. And this is what the moving averages are telling us. Now let's take a look at, actually, let's take a look at bonds. Bonds ripped today. Well, bonds ripped the past couple days. And actually, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's just zoom. Yeah, actually, let's go to another chart because that's just looking too sloppy. All right, fair. This is what I want to highlight is how the market essentially put in a major move. Right, this is a major 7% move. Then the market found a reason to find support. And typically these markets find support around halfway or 61% retracement area when you're looking at it from just a percentage retracement basis. And if you're looking at it, let me just get rid of this fib because this could be confusing. Just from here to there, 4% from 12628 down to 121.17. Hold on though. All right. So we got 7.5%. I think. Hold on. This is being a pain in my butt now. Yeah, 7.5% versus 4%. So we had approximately a 60% retracement, 58% retracement. And it just fell to the moving average ultimately. Right. And then the market tried to give a little shakeout move, but volume stayed with it. Momentum ultimately reversed. Volatility really never gave an exit signal when you look at how it sold off. Because typically you want to see something vertical like that. That's scary, right? Over here it's like sanguine, not really volatile. And those are the kind of notices, those are like the little nuances that let you know that these moves are just profit taking, nothing serious, nothing you have to concern yourself with in terms of understanding what's driving it, if you don't understand what's driving it. i.e., price action and whatnot. All right, now let's take a look at the dollar. And look at this, it just reversed. Right, we have resistance right here, a moving average with serious weight overhead, and it could just not continue its trend. So this is interesting because we have a market that seems to be setting up for a move lower that drives everything else, or should drive everything else, higher. So are we going to find some support? I mean, literally right here, because that is what the market is saying. Area of importance. We talked about earlier, halfway through this range, and this is a 28-cent range. Not sure how many ticks that is in dollar terms. I'm guessing it trades in half ticks. Yeah, it does trade in half ticks. So probably, let's see here, 5-1-8-1-30. So 60 ticks, 30 ticks, open at 96. Oh, I'm sorry, I need to look at the close at 127. So 101.27, 25% of that is 7. So right here, that's 25%. This is 50. And anything around here is pretty much the cutoff. Because if we break that, we're probably going to break this. So those are the levels to watch for. 101.20, 101.15, and then ultimately 101.12. Anything below 101.08 is probably going to be a wash as far as support goes, because that probably means the trend continues lower. So ultimately, the trend is bearish as we speak because price is below the short-term moving average. But it's important to understand the context of microstructure right now. Hold on, guys. Man, what a shit show. All right. It's important to look at these things within a context of market structure. And when we look at volume, positive divergence. When we look at momentum, positive divergence has begun. Volatility is setting up for the recoil or the retracement move. And if it sticks with it and stays above a certain area, I would like to think somewhere above 75, 78 versus this scale. Anywhere above 78, 75 is probably a good area for volatility to stop and finish its high volatility stance and revert, because that's what volatility does. It just expands and contracts, expands and contracts. That's all it does. That's the way to think of it. Now let's look at gold and see what it's doing. I mean, if the dollar had a big down day, I'm guessing gold had an up day. I don't know. We'll see. Yep, something like that. Now let's break it down. Let's take a look at this in half-hour increments. Actually, let's go down to 20 minutes. This is 8:30. This is 8:15 in New York. Right here. This candle. Today, Wednesday. We're going to go look at gold, same time. Interesting. Okay, so this is gold around 8:15. Pretty much just puked down a little bit, which coincides with the rip up in the dollar around the same time. But interestingly enough, gold went up for the rest of the day, and what did the dollar do for the rest of the day? It just went down a lot. So I think it seems to me, if we look at this precluding bottom, this happened at 4:50 a.m. today, New York. Let's see what happened at 4:50 in the dollar. It's like they were not trading together at all. It's interesting. 2 o'clock yesterday. Let's check it. 2 o'clock yesterday. What was it doing? 2 o'clock yesterday. Huh. They were off by, let's see, this is, now my thinking is that people were buying, or, yeah, no, I'm confused now. Hold on. It looks like people are selling dollars to buy gold. That's almost what it looks like in terms of the timing, which is funny. Usually doesn't look like that. But anyways, important thing to note, got a little divergence setting up here, but as you guys know, on the smaller time frames, they just run up into the moving averages. That's why it's important to have a multi-time, multi-price range perspective so that you're not playing yourself thinking it's actually going to go up because it's set up to continue going down. So the dollar seems to be in an interesting spot because this area is important. This is the area we were just highlighting. This is 10. This is below 1018 right here already. So the dollar really doesn't have a lot of space to play with. Ultimately, it really can't go lower than here if it's going to continue its bull trend. If it breaks this low significantly, it's pretty much game over. And that's really not that far away. We already wiped out a couple of days worth of gains in one session. So it's not hard to, excuse me, it's not hard to imagine anything worse happening. Now, let's just take a look at some other futures markets real quick. Just want to take a look at cotton. Haven't looked at it in a couple of days. It's looking mighty nice. It's looking like it's ready. It's getting ready to make a nice move higher. That's what it's looking like. You got the intermediate moving averages flattening out. Short term is already rolling up. Long term seems like they're getting ready to start pausing on their downstroke, so to speak. So it's looking all right. Let's see what copper's doing. Copper looks like it's trying to find some type of stabilization down here, but still looking relatively weak. Heat and oil looking just like crude is looking, which is looking just like gasoline is looking. Let's check natural gas. Natural gas flowing sideways as we are entering winter, so it makes sense. Palladium, platinum, meh, rolling over. Both of them rolling over the past, excuse me, couple days. Interestingly enough, same deal with silver. All three of those are contrary to gold. Gold sold off yesterday and day before. But though these other markets also sold off today. As far as the price action is concerned, it's okay. Silver looks like gold, but palladium and platinum look like they sold off. We already know that these currencies are going to be up because the dollar was down. Australian dollar not looking like it cared much at all today. Neither did the pound, but it's been on a tear. Canadian dollar, euro, And, they're all going to look relatively the same because they're all relatively just trading against the dollar. So nothing, not much of a secret there. But interestingly enough, the Swiss franc is still fighting up here, but it looks like it locked in a negative divergence. See here, yep, that thing is locked in. So if this actually holds up here, take a look at this tomorrow. If this actually holds up here, technically it shouldn't go past this point right here. So we'll check this out tomorrow, see what the end result is and what the status is with the dollar on a real basis. Yeah, looking like the rest of the markets. This is the mid cap 400 futures. This is the S&P 500 futures. This is the NASDAQ futures. They all look similar. I think the Russell futures is that. I don't trade it, so I don't really know. Yeah, probably looks just like the other ones. Yep. Taiwan futures rolling over today. Yesterday was a big day. And Chinese futures, interesting. Looks like that's setting up for a rollover. And I was bullish a couple days ago. Mine's changed on that. And again, bonds. Just to touch on that once more. Looking nice and strong. And really looks like it's ready to just careen on higher off those moving averages. Let's take a look at Coco. Looks like Coco making that move we were talking about last time below to 65.90. See what happens. I mean, it gets below there, it's probably not going to stay up here. And to be honest with you guys, I think this is just a classic commodities top. And classic commodity tops, they just take forever to happen because the bulls had a lot of supply. They accumulated at the beginning of the move. And typically, guys that are in at the beginning have the opportunity and the ability, let's put this in logarithmic, to just accumulate over time and through pyramiding, because it's important to remember these markets mark to market every single night. So if you're in the green every single day, you're getting paid every single day. Right? So that's important to understand. And, if you understand that you're playing the long game, you can probably trim your position every time price moves below the 9 EMA and buy, at a certain point, because you understand this is a big trend move. And that's just trade management at that point when you're looking at the big picture. So that's the cool thing about commodities. You don't really have that in stocks like that. It's a little different. In stocks, you got to keep adding to your position. You don't get paid out by the market. It's not market to market. So it's a little different. So the thing you guys got to realize is that, this market was going sideways for fucking 5 years before it did anything. So if you are the type of person that understands how to play these big moves, and all that means is, you got to stay below a certain range and let the market play itself out. And if it doesn't happen, then you got to just wait again. Because this is not uncommon. This is common in commodities. Let's look at, I don't know if we'll be able to see it in any of these retarded markets. Okay, yeah, actually we can. So here's cattle futures, or feeder cattle futures. As you guys can see, from 2018 through 2021, nothing happened. And it was so crazy that even I got swept up into this loop like early on. And then I was just like, what am I doing? I don't trade this shit. And I left it alone. But it just became an interesting market because it had never done that before. Or if it had done it, it hadn't done it since like the 70s or some crazy shit. I can't remember anymore what it is. But as you guys can see, this market, this is 95 already. And when you're looking at this now, you can clearly see all this was a consolidation for a move higher. But the question is, what's happening here? In my opinion, we're about to see this collapse, which is interesting because we see a lot of other markets getting set up for a move higher. But this is definitely, what the hell is going on here? There's definitely something going on in LeBron. There's just too many sirens. This is just abnormal. We usually hear sirens, but this has been like all stream. I gotta find out. All right. Anyway, so when you look at price structure up here, it's positive, right? It's very obvious. But then what do you see in volume? Super slant. What do you see in momentum? Super slant. Volatility. It's weakening. So what this means is that this move is super weak. So this market's about to collapse. That's literally what that means. And it'll probably look something like this because you already had that first test to then break that retest and then snap lower, just like it did here. This is just how markets operate in most instances when they're going to make a low. So you actually have two. You got this one and then this one. So that's interesting. I wouldn't have found this if I wasn't talking to you guys. Um, hmm. Interesante. Let's see something here. Yeah, I didn't think so. So that's a problem with feeder cattle futures is you gotta like know the cycles of each respective contract and how it trades and whatnot. It's just not cut and dry like most markets because most markets are not cyclical like food is. Food is going to be based on supply, demand, and those seasonal factors. And if you're not tapped in, you're not. You don't know. It's really that simple. All right, let's look at a specific contract. Let's look at the latest front month contract just to see what this actually looks like. And as you guys can see, at a certain point in time, about a year and a half ago, there was really no trading in this contract. And futures markets are unlike other markets in that there's a rollover, what's called a rollover. And what that means is that if you want to maintain a position in this market, you have to go from the current contract to the future new contract, the contract that the market is rolling over to. So that's why when you see me click on these charts and you see all these gaps, you'll notice this little flip thing here. And all that means is a contract switch occurred at that point. So if you click on it, it'll take you to that contract. And as you guys will know, the last date of trade on this contract was actually April 16th, 2024, which is 5 months ago almost. So this contract hasn't traded since then, right? But when you look at the chart, you can still elect it and see what happened in the life of that contract, which is pretty cool because you couldn't do that before. So that's actually nice. So clicking on the current contract, this is what it looks like. Now let's look at the previous contract. No longer trading and stopped trading in August. But as you guys can see, it was making the lows, right? So let's go back and let's pick on the previous chart, or I'm sorry, the latest contract, the front month. See here? Boom, boom. Right. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this market. It looks like we might be hitting a pause button here. We'll see because this is resistance for sure right here. I've seen that enough. All right, coffee still going up. I mean, just look at the moving averages. Important to note how price just keeps on staying elevated in line with the averages. And that's just a perfect trend right there. And this again, another commodity in terms of livestock. You got to click on the contract and see what's actually going on with each one. And as you guys can see, this one's just really range bound rate lately, from 170 to 190. And this is for live cattle. I think this is the actual beef. So beef has actually been relatively okay recently in terms of price inflation. But it is higher than what it was. I mean, I don't really eat beef, so I really don't be knowing. Oh wow. Yep. Never mind that. Yowza. Oh, this one goes all the way back to 1976. Crazy. So at one point, I can't remember, it's 36 a pound. Oh yeah, it's a pound. It's a pound. So this is the prices, and I can't remember what the fuck the pound is. I think it's 40,000. I can't remember what the number is. But long story short, this is the price per pound. So 179 is a buck 79 times the number of pounds, and you're paying per head. So you're buying the whole cow. That's how that math is done. I think it's 40,000 pounds, but I can't remember the math of this stuff anymore. It's been a while. But it looks like we are getting a potentially move lower. But we'll let the market suss that out and give us that look when the time comes. For now, looks like it's just chopping sideways for the past year. That's literally what it looks like. OJ still popping. Sugar trying to figure it out, but it's looks like it's in that retest zone. Might not go lower than here. Yeah, probably not. Be interesting to see what happens. If it continues to go lower, then all bets are off, right? Because it's still under these moving averages, and that's really the test. Is what it does in between these two sets of moving averages. That's really going to be the test because it could easily just end up doing this again. You know, just like I did here, just like I did here, just like I did here. Except for that, price wasn't under the moving average at that point. So we'll see what happens. Continue to keep an eye on that. Corn popping. And again, contract switch. So again, guys, this one was just riding the wave lower with the rest of the market due to economic or lack thereof, due to lack of demand. But when you look at the market now, right, all of this just created demand because it's important to understand how prices work when we're talking about actual tangible things. Lower prices create demand and higher prices create supply, right? Another way of saying it is higher prices cure high prices and lower prices cure low prices. So, ultimately things get cheap enough where people gotta buy, and they do. And this is ultimately what this divergence sign means. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I never really seen one like that before. It's so obvious. Wild. Um, Let me see something. I bet when you look at the composite, oh shoot, it definitely looked like that. Definitely looked like that. So we're looking at soybean oil. And this seems to be following his moving averages. Still staying under them. Just riding the wave. Soybean meal, same deal. And what's tough about trading markets like these is, if you don't have a real solid understanding of the fundamentals, it becomes difficult to hold a position short when the volatility is such that, it vertically retraces against you like that. It's important to understand the market you're trading when you see stuff like that so that you don't get shaken out by such a move, because that's probably just how that market trades, right? Because when we look at the overall trend of this market, we got that, we got this peak here. Does this even stretch to over here? Yeah. But then it reverses, right? Like the trend just starts going down. And then it just gets steeper. Oh, nothing didn't click. You see, so it's just about understanding the market as far as how it likes to move. Because an up move doesn't necessarily mean that the move is over. But it's important that you understand how to gauge that. Because there's so many different ways to do it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And every way is good as long as it, makes sense. Because everybody has a different set of eyes than everybody else. So, yeah. So, long story short, if price stays in this channel, you're good, right? And that's the kind of stuff you got to be on the lookout for. A little measly stuff like that. Now this oats, yeah. Now this is probably this is divergence is too much. I wouldn't be holding that short. Nope. And this is 3 days per candle, so this is pretty solid. Now you zoom in, that thing is already up 50 handles off the low. We can say, yeah, 50, definitely. Rice is another one of those contracts that you got to really look at individually, because independently, it's from a composite perspective, it's annoying. Does not work. And then this is what you get. So it's really, really, I'm just going to get rid of it. Who cares? I'm buying it anyway. So. Soybeans, another one. All these agricultural commodities are looking similar. But we'll see what happens in the intermediate term as far as the trend goes, because a lot of them are very exhausted as the selling is concerned. But the fundamental situation is such that it really begs the question if the market is really going to reverse itself or not. And it's hard to say that it's actually going to do that. I don't know. Let's see what cryptos is doing. I feel like looking today for some odd reason. See if Dex Screener decides to work. Where is Pulse Chain? There you go. First thing we're gonna do is see how many shit coins exist. Where are you, Pulse Chain? Here we go. All right, let's go to the bottom. 24,000 shit coins. Oh my god. The last time I looked, it was 7,000. Man, y'all ain't shit. Man, y'all ain't shit. Y'all motherfuckers ain't got no type of sensibility when it comes to money, and wonder why y'all broke. Damn, this shit is crazy. Oh man, I don't even know what to say. This is hilarious, hilarious. And then people want respect. Come on, what a joke. All right, let's look for X. Okay, so this doesn't work like that anymore. All right. All right, here's Hex. Oh, they keep selling it? My God. I can't believe people are this dumb. Holy shit. If there's something I've learned in this experiment called Hex, well, cryptocurrency in general, is that people really cannot think forward. And what I mean by that is that they have a hard time thinking outside of instant gratification. And that's very detrimental to a lot of people because you miss out when you miss the big picture. And that's ultimately uh, what did me in when it came to Bitcoin was not really understanding the big picture. Um, and I mean, it hurt me so much that I ultimately ended up becoming an expert in the big picture. So you got to really know what you don't know. And a lot of people don't know that they don't know shit. So because of that, they're going to really just be more cautionary tales. And yo, that's perfectly fine for people like me. Because what I want to see is another zero. So, you know, I'm sorry if you don't want to see that, but that's what I want to see. So hopefully this three will disappear soon and it will become a one, and then that one will become a nine, and then, or a zero, and then that next number will become a nine, and all is well in my world. So, fingers crossed. I've learned to play the long game very well, if nothing else. Let's look at PulseX. Let's see what this is looking like. And today will be great. Man, this is brutal. Oh man. I can't believe we're here. Wow. Hold on, let me get rid of this. Come on. Uh, all right. Looks almost like Hex. Well, if we're lucky, we'll see another move down here. Oh, that would be great. Oh, it did a nice little run in March. I didn't even know. How about that? And if I did, I sure as hell don't remember. Ink. And then I think you can't really find PLS or something. I can't remember where the hell it was that I went to see it last time, but it wasn't here. Come on, man. This is killing me. Let's go. Doo-doo-doo. Alright. Pretty much like the other ones. Let's make this weekly. And let's hope this resolves sometime this year. There we go. Yeah. Crazy. And this is versus PLSX, so it's not going to look like it does versus PLS. It's going to look different. Just so you guys get that. See, because it's two different ones. But yeah. PLS. Let's see. I don't think it lets me look it up for whatever reason. And I don't have the what you call it, readily available. The coin ID. Let's see if it brings it up. Okay. Bunch of fake pulse chain coins, I guess. Not sure what all these. Man. Are these a bunch of fake coins? Seems like it. Yep. Amazing. So somebody spammed the chain with a bunch of shit coins. And they like took their time to come up with all these dumbass names. Incredible. All right, well that's all I got, guys. Let me see. We got some comments here. You're welcome, guys. So the thing you guys got to understand about crypto and how that works is that you got a bunch of unsophisticated people in this market. So whatever happens in the regular market is not necessarily going to happen in the crypto market because you're assuming the same actors and players are in this market. And it's important to understand that that's not the case. Not the case by a long shot. So, look how quickly the market went lower. Almost cleared out this temporary point of control, which is a level I've been targeting fucking since this morning. And it just keeps holding it up because when you look at the market down here, there's some buying interest down here. Right? So things don't happen in a linear fashion. And I think that the people that are consistently selling down the good coins, which is what you see in the pulse chain ecosystem, they're going to learn that the hard way. Shout out to all my homies down under. Can we pump already? Unfortunately, we're not pumping for a while because this is a transitional period. So this is literally the point in time to make your bag swell up. Because after this period in time, there's not going to be any looking back. So, yeah. Will there be another country that fails to pay their debts like Greece in 2008, 2010? What's interesting about that is that was just a mistake. They weren't trying to. That wasn't supposed to come out to light, basically. So, I think that that's something that came to light in a way that they didn't really want it to because it implicated Goldman Sachs in a very nasty way, and it was still trying to recover from the 2008 shit. So it was just an ugly like 10 years for Goldman from a public relations perspective because of all of the stuff they got exposed of doing during the mortgage crisis, and then that, um, and then how they treat employees and stuff like that. So I'm not so sure that that's ever going to happen again because they even essentially stopped the CDS market from functioning. Apparently nowadays it's functioning, but to be honest with you, until that market is free to function and operate, there is not going to be any institution that is going to be able to invoke a default because these CDS spreads are going to be maintained such that they're somewhat stable. I mean, let's look at what. Let me see if I can find anything on CDS prices while we're talking. Um, it's something that I used to actually be very adamant about when I first came in the game because I understood it very well. The whole bankruptcy and all that stuff, and unfortunately, they happened to destroy that market right as I was coming into the game. So I really never got to even try to get into that market because by the time I came in, you really had to know somebody. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, let's see what we got here. So Russia, as you guys can see, has I think, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember. This is 39, 31 basis points. So that's 0.031%. So if that's 0.31%, this is third 137% for Russia. But Russia can't realistically default because they're not a part of the SWIFT system. So it's just like dumb. Egypt. Uh, I don't know how much you guys know about Egypt, but and by they're trying to put pressure on Egypt for some reason. And this is one of the tactics that the Jews use to impose pressure on other countries. They did it to the United States in 2010. They've done it to other Western countries along the way. If you've been paying attention, I can't remember exactly which ones. But if I sat here and started digging, we'd find a few. So credit default swap is a financial derivative that allows an investor to swap or offset their credit risk with that of another investor. Essentially, the CDS is a form of insurance against the default of a borrower. They talk about CDSs in the Big Short, but this is in regards to different kind of market instrument. And this market instrument is like the U.S. Treasury, German bonds, and government issued bonds. That's what these credit default swaps cover specifically. And unfortunately for people like me, they've essentially killed that market because they don't want people, you know, knowing the truth about what's really going on. Yeah. So 13,775 basis points is 137% for Russia. So this is how dumb this is, right? So this CD value translates into an implied probability of default of 100%. And this is why I'm kind of like pointing out, like, it's unfortunately awful gazing now because there is no rule of law in the West and the people have not figured it out yet. When the financial system stopped working in 2008, I really thought that all this stuff we're seeing now, we were going to see a way long time ago. And I mean, look at when the CDS rate increased. Look at when. This all led up. Oh, come on. What is this? this stuff all led up is a provocative measure to whatever October 7th was. And then the Ukraine nonsense too. So all of this is related to that. And unfortunately, all of this does is that it highlights how fragile the Western economy is, because we're allowing political actors to weaponize economic system, and that essentially invalidates it on multiple fronts. So that's why I don't see any defaults happening. Nobody's really playing with the US and their crap anymore. And that's important to understand. It's a WPLS, as you have to wrap it to get a price. I think I got what you mean. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Y'all be easy. Catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.